LA has got a new DA, and George Gascon is not waiting a long time to put into effect the sort of agenda he had been campaigning on. On just his first day leading the country's largest district attorney's office, top prosecutor in LA County announced a series of sweeping criminal justice reforms aimed at permanently changing the course of California's criminal justice system. Gascon said, "I recognize for many this is a new path. Whether you are a protester, a police officer, or a prosecutor, I ask you to walk with me. I ask you to join me on this journey. We can break the multi-generational cycles of violence, trauma, and arrest and recidivism that has led America to incarcerate more people than any other nation." Now, I can't speak necessarily for the protesters or the prosecutors, but I'm going to guess that many of the police officers, or at least the representation, are not going to be walking with him. But here are a few of the changes, and then we'll have a little discussion. He tweeted a number of them. Enhancements, a legacy of the tough on crime era, are a principal driver of excessive sentences and mass incarceration. California enacted over 100 enhancements, which are outdated, incoherent, and applied unfairly. To end mass incarceration in LA, we will cease filing all enhancements. He talks about the effect that the 3 strikes law had on the prison population in California, and says that 3 strikes ends in my office beginning today. He pledged to reopen 4 fatal officer-involved shootings, saying my office will now convene a use of force review board to review fatal use of force cases dating back to at least 2012. We must hold police accountable to restore trust in law enforcement. He says that cash bail is going to be ended completely by January 1st, and also says that the death penalty does not make us safer. It's racist, morally untenable, irreversible, and expensive, and today it's off the table. So I would say that's a lot for one day. That's a busy first day. I don't know how you follow that up on the second day, but he is hitting a bunch of different areas. These are all things that he campaigned on.
Yeah, and won. It is kind of it's certainly a positive move for progressives. I mean, in terms of reform. And listen, this is another one of those things where you really can't. I have a friend of mine is in the LAPD, and there's no middle ground. We never, ever find any middle ground in our discussions about reform. And so I don't really have an answer. We just try to maintain a friendship and outside of talk of criminal reform. But I like data, and I think like these stats don't lie. And you also have the softer data, which is what this this generational cycle that you do have to break. So listen, let's give this guy a shot and see what happens. I hope there's
Yeah, look, I don't have close relationships with many cops, but I'm seeing the response to Gascon with the police union. Let's see what's their particular quote. Los Angeles Police Union called the reforms disturbing and potentially disastrous, saying Gascon is exploring every avenue possible to release from jail those responsible for recent rise in violent crime. And so the thing is, at least with the reforms that he's talked about so far, in terms of direct reform to the day-to-day job of a police officer, I mean, the closest thing is investigating past fatal officer-involved shootings. The rest of it is really more about mass incarceration and the way that people are treated once they are involved in that system. It's not really about cops can't do this, they're gonna be reviewed if they do this, strap a body cam onto that. It's not really those sorts of reforms just yet. And so it's interesting that the response is so negative. I understand that they're worried about a slippery slope, they're worried about what happens next or whatever, but I do agree, it really does feel like this is one of those areas, like with like gun control, where literally nothing can be proposed from the point of view of the entrenched interests. Nothing will be accepted because it's always considered the first step towards, mass roundups of guns or badges, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, listen, why is that growing exponentially? What we have to have a long-term policy fix here, guys. So I guess we will see. I don't know.
Yeah. We will see. I'm gonna read just one more comment from Gascon, perhaps like an image of an idea of what's to come, saying, for those of you who at home may be skeptical, I want to ask you to take a moment, close your eyes, and imagine your ideal safe neighborhood. I imagine most of you will imagine a neighborhood with parks, playgrounds, and manicured lawns, with kids playing and after-school programs flourishing. I don't imagine most of you are imagining a neighborhood with a police officer on every corner. We know what safety looks like, but we don't offer it to every community equally. And by the way, I would definitely advise everyone, whether you go to, there's good write-ups on LA Times, NBC News, Common Dreams and all of that about things he's doing. He's also talking about making sure that we have the right funding to treat people with mental health difficulties appropriately, rather than just funneling it again into the same already overcrowded system. He wants to review cases where people were given really lengthy prison terms and are not considered to be threats of future criminality or violence or anything like that. People who are much older, nonviolent crimes. Like this is, so there's some specific reforms here, but there's also a philosophical change to a little bit more understanding of the proper use for long-term incarceration, and not simply like California has for the last 30 years considered a solution to every societal ill.
Yeah, it sounds very pragmatic, and I don't know if I would even call it progressive. It just sounds like it's treating very logically issues from a guy who really has studied them. He sounds expert, and
yeah,
wow, what a refreshing thing that is too, to hear from someone who is an expert.
Yeah, we could use that for a bit. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.